evening. Welcome to an evening with Benson Lee. I'm going to be your host, and I'm going to talk about this man who's eluded me my whole life. But seriously, thanks for being here. Thanks to the Korea Society for having me. This is actually the first time I'm actually going to talk about my body of work, which actually just comes out to about 4 films. But it's been an interesting experience just thinking about it from this perspective, because you know, when I thought about my work, I had to kind of think about what my influences were, and I realized that you know, there's a lot of different events in my life, people I've met, as well as things I've experienced that have impacted my work and my commitment to the types of films that I want to make. And after Hawaii, I decided, okay, well, it's time for me to, you know, take this to the next level. And so, but instead of going to LA, I decided to go to Europe, because I was really, really into the European film school. And instead of going to school, I figured I would just work in the industry. So I went to Paris, and I lived there, which to me was like sort of the cinema mecca of the world. And I had a wonderful time there. I learned about movies from a completely different angle. But I couldn't get work, because my French wasn't very good. So what I eventually did was I went to London, and thinking that because I spoke English I could get more work, but that wasn't the case. I was very young and inexperienced. So what I decided to do was, instead, if I can't like get on a movie, I should make one. So I wrote a script, and I got in touch with a former ex-girlfriend who did it really well, and she financed my first film. It's a very low budget, but it got made and it got into Sundance. It was an overwhelming experience for me because I was 26 at the time. It was just my first movie. And I was at home when I was watching TV, and I saw Flashdance. And I forgot to mention, when I was in high school, you know, on top of not being a good student, you know, I got involved in like things like the breakdance club. So I was into breakdancing in high school. I was into hip hop culture in high school, and after I got back from Sundance, I saw Flashdance, which is the movie I saw in high school that got me into breakdancing. And when I watched it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is a very small scene with Jennifer Beal. She's walking down the street, she sees the breakdancers, but it influenced an entire generation of dancers around the world. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is like almost 2000 now, and I wonder what happened to the breakdancers. So I went online, I did a search, and I discovered this event called Battle of the Year, which is the World Cup of b-boying. And I was shocked to discover that there's all these countries that came to this event, and b-boys from around the world, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And nobody knew about it. So I followed this event, and then in 2001, I got the videotape, and I threw it into my VHS player watching this event, really excited, and then I noticed the Koreans entered the Battle of the Year. And that was the last thing I expected. And another thing is that when these new countries join the Battle of the Year, they usually perform very poorly. They're always ranked on like very low, because they're new to the game. But Korea came in second, and I was like, what? That's crazy. And the whole b-boy world was like, what happened? Like, who are these Koreans? And then the following year they won it, which is completely unheard of. And so I was like, this is really intriguing, you know, and I knew that there wasn't anything special about Korean men in terms of making them more acrobatic or agile than other men around the world. So there was definitely more to it than what I saw in the videotape. So I started thinking, you know, this might be a good opportunity to make my first documentary, because I've always loved documentaries. But I always knew it was going to be a struggle and really hard, and very hard to get finance. So I went to Korea, and with this agenda to figure out, why are Korean guys so good at this, like so soon? And I learned so many things, such as a lot of these guys didn't do too well in school. And in Korea, when you don't do well in school, you're basically dismissed as a loser. And then on top of that, they have to go to the military for 2 years. And on top of that, their future is really bleak. And they took all that angst and they put it into b-boying. And as a result, these guys are like superheroes. And they started getting attention. And I mean, you know, I believe that there's something very symbolic about that in Korea, not only with b-boys, but a lot of different other areas. But when I learned that, I was like, okay, I want to make a documentary about this. I want to share this with the world. So I made the doc, and to make a long story short, I suffered and struggled very, very hard. Every corner I turned for years, I couldn't get, we always had a minus in our bank account, but we made it. And it was one of the most extraordinary experiences of my life, to see kids around the world who totally challenged every stereotype about hip hop, and gave me a reason to learn more about the world via hip hop and this dance, this beautiful dance. And it was amazing. The film did great after we got it out. It was a total Cinderella story because I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary, but we only focus on about 4 crews out of like 21. And all 4 crews made it to the finals. And the Koreans won that year, which of course I was very proud of, but I had nothing to do with. Because a lot of people asked me if I had something to do with that. But it was just an amazing experience. We got it out there. We distributed to 30 different countries. MTV picked it up, showed it internationally, and then of course the Hollywood came knocking, and they asked me to make it into a 3D movie. And I just never imagined that a documentary about b-boys would come this far. Because my main intention was I wanted to provide exposure to the subculture, and I thought what they did was amazing, and that people had the wrong view of hip hop. And I had a really deep agenda with this film, and we were able to figure it out, achieve that mission. And I'm really proud of that. It's about an American dream team. It's about a coach who puts together this dream team of the top b-boys from America. And even though they're all really talented, but they all have super egos, you know, like America does. And they have to learn how to become a team, which is what this film is about. And it's a very different kind of dance film, because it's not about, like in this genre, it's normally about like the ballerina falls in love with like the street dancer, you know. She civilizes him, he teaches her flavor, which has been done way too many times. So our film is very different. It stars Josh Holloway from Lost, who played Sawyer. He's the coach, the angry coach, and he's really good. Chris Brown is in it, and he's just phenomenal. I didn't know what to expect working with him. I didn't know much about his music, but I knew about like his the controversy. But when I worked with him, he was amazing. He's so talented as an actor, as a dancer. So I was really blessed. I worked with, and what's great about the story is like the team to beat are the Koreans. So back in the day, you know, it was like the Russians, and so now it's the Koreans. But they're not one-dimensional. They're really cool. You know, they're just phenomenal dancers. We put together a dream team from Korea, and I was really proud about that. That pretty much concludes my presentation. I want to thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
So what's up, brotherly love? This is Benson Lee, director of Planet B-Boy, giving a shout out to my favorite city in the East Coast, where I have the deepest roots there. I'm still a Phillies fan on top of that. I friggin' miss Phillies cheesesteaks like crazy. And one of my sweetest memories is actually showing Planet B-Boy at the Philadelphia Asian Film Festival. So I got to share my work with my peeps.
You know, documentaries is different than reality TV. You know, reality TV comes out, and it's the furthest thing from reality, honestly. And documentaries is the last bastion of truth, in my opinion.
It's a really great film festival because, you know, the Asian community in Philadelphia is very large, and they deserve to have their own film festival. So it was quite an honor to show there, and I don't know, I hope that I get invited back as a judge, perhaps, and they put me up at the Ritz-Carlton. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'd jump on any opportunity to come back to Philadelphia, because Philly's got a really sweet spot in my heart. Yeah, five years old in November. That's amazing. And I was there in the first year, which is like an honor. So big props to you guys and all the hard work you put into that festival.